Good morning, everybody. Dear i3 community, both here in person, connecting with us through the live stream. My name is Sander van der Molen. I represent the i3 support facility, and I will be your host today. And I want to give a warm welcome for all of you coming here physically online to this first annual i3 Instrument Forum. The annual i3 Instrument Forum is a place gathering policymakers, i3 projects partners, and other interested stakeholders to learn about and share success stories about the new i3 instruments. But before diving into today and the agenda, I would like to officially open the i3 Instrument Forum. And I want to invite for opening words for this first annual i3 Instrument Forum, the Director of DG Regio, Nicolas de Michaelis. Please, warm welcome.
Thank you, and good morning. Welcome to the i3 project developers and the partners. Welcome to the managing authorities, the regional authorities, and even welcome to the Commission colleagues. Few days ago, the Vice President Fito held implementation dialogue with representatives of the business associations, small and medium-sized enterprises. There were a lot of criticism about the way in which cohesion policy operates. It's too complicated. But if there was one program that got unanimity in terms of success, was the i3. As you know, there are more than 70 interregional projects, more than 300 million euro invested, projects like the SICA Perma, led by Andalusia, with more than 6 million invested, 14 partners to pilot circular value chains for magnets, developing technology to dismantling the magnets from wind turbines, from home appliances, from electric cars, and producing recycled high-quality magnets for motors and sensors. With pilots in Austria, in Slovenia, in France. A group of people, by the way, that already operated under Horizon Europe, and i3 offered the opportunity to scale up and to commercialize those innovations. Or a project like the Baltic Muppets that coordinated by the Submariner Network in Berlin, 13 partners, more than 7 million euro invested to develop new and deploy new technologies for farming, harvesting, and processing small Baltic Sea mussels, previously considered as waste. And this is a project that, among other things, has facilitated the participation of very small enterprises that have sometimes difficulties in participating in EU projects. Now, the success of the i3, I think, demonstrate three things. The first is that under cohesion policy, under the programs co-financed by the European Regional Development Fund, there's a lot of money invested in innovation, in research. But often that investment remains largely local, and it's normal because of the way in which those programs are constructed. What the i3 allows is to establish connections and cooperation between and among ecosystems throughout Europe in different regions, specializing in the same, working in the same industrial sectors. The second is the apparent tension between competitiveness and cohesion is largely artificial. And it's largely artificial because there is potential everywhere. And is a potential that is just waiting to be untapped, provided that there are the right instruments and the right mechanism to ensure that everybody, everywhere, can participate in European projects. And the third and final point is that the i3, I think, underlined once more the importance of regional ecosystems. The EU level can provide direction, can provide instruments, the national level can animate and coordinate, but it's at the local and regional level that things happen. And the where is as important as the what. And this is why the Commission has proposed to continue the I3 experience in the context of, in the framework of the new EU facilities that has been proposed in the context of the new budget for post-2027 that the co-legislators are now starting to negotiate. And so let me conclude by simply saying that this forum is about dialogue, is about exchange. Let's certainly concentrate on what is happening and what can be do better, but let's also start thinking how to design the future and the new instruments that will allow to continue this, I think, great experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for these kind opening words and remembering and reminding us about the importance of the I3 instruments. Next, I want to invite to the stage Stefan Wacki, Acting Director of ESMEA, for opening words.
Good morning to all. Very happy to be here to say a few words on behalf of ESMEA, especially after the words of Nicolas coming from our great partner, which is DG Regio. So warm welcome to all of you to be present, to all of you coordinators of I3 projects, regional authorities, innovation stakeholders, and partners from all across the European Union. So this gathering, of course, this year is special. It's first time we meet for an annual two-day annual forum, building on the Coordinators' Day that ESMEA organized in 23 and 24, and marking the launch of the I3 support facility last October. So with this step, we are scaling up. I mean, the political dimension was already mentioned by Nicolas. I will not dwell upon it. The importance for cohesion and inter-regional policy of this instrument. But on my side, of course, being at the executive agency side, on the operational side, I will turn more on the day-to-day implementation challenges and the opportunity that exist for I3 projects and practical exchanges between coordinators. So this two-day format shows our ambition to bring policy closer to practice and to ensure that strategies translate into concrete actions to the ground. So for us, the I3 instrument has been a great success story. I will just say, of course, a few statistics here. 70 inter-regional projects have been funded. More than 300 million euros has already been committed out of the 490 million available in this MFF. And of course, what we do here is we support the commercialization and scale-up of innovation within European value chains with a strong focus on SMEs and less developed regions, while remaining open to all EU regions based on their smart specialization strategies and strength. Since its launch, the instrument has been a key driver of European innovation to help bridge regions, accelerate the market uptake of innovation, and boost territorial cohesion, all objectives that, of course, we are supporting with this instrument, the objectives of cohesion policy more generally. And we are also quite happy and impressed that all 27 member states are now represented by at least one region in I3 projects, which is very important. That shows that we are truly building pan-European value chains. But of course, the instrument is much more than numbers, and this is why we thought that this was very important to gather all of you here, because it enables SMEs in less developed regions to find partners across Europe. It's about strengthening ecosystems in fields like clean tech, health, digital. Nicolas mentioned a few very interesting projects that we are funding. And it's about making sure that no region is left behind in the innovation economy that is emerging. It's becoming so important. So now if I look at the I3 support facility launched last year, is central to enhancing now impact. It offers an observatory map of successful projects, a matchmaking platform for both ongoing projects and newcomers looking to join, expert webinars on key I3 topics, and thematic discussion groups to connect stakeholders across Europe. The facility is designed not only to guide beneficiaries, but also to welcome new participants, especially regions and organizations with less experience in inter-regional cooperations. In short, it makes the instrument more accessible, more visible, and more effective. And already we are seeing results. Like later today, you will hear about the first completed I3 projects, I for Green, which focused on mining and critical raw materials across Portugal, Spain, and Italy. This is proof that I3 projects can deliver tangible outcomes, strengthening Europe's value chains while contributing to our green and digital transformation. And now, by way of conclusion, let me also highlight the role that we play as ISMEA. As you know, ISMEA, as an executive agency of the Commission, is managing a number of other programs alongside the I3 instrument, the European Innovation Council, the European Innovation Ecosystems, and also the Single Market Program. And of course, the strengths that we bring here in managing the I3 instrument is to create the necessary connections, to create a continuum of support between those initiatives and programs, to provide opportunities for early stage innovation to scale up and to cross-regional deployment. These initiatives, these programs are complementary in a sense and increasingly interconnected, since we see indeed some of the projects applying when they are successful to other instruments. And this is of course something that we do welcome. This is very important because we need to really join forces in order to boost Europe's innovation ecosystem and to make it as strong as it is can possibly be. And in order to realize that, the connections between actors, instruments in region is key. And of course, I will conclude by highlighting the very trustful and strong and fluid cooperation we have with our parent DG Regio on this. So I take, of course, Nicolas, the words you have said about the proposal for the next MFF with great hope and support from your side. We believe indeed that we have shown that we can bring value, and we are looking forward to work with you to see how this can be implemented successfully in the next financial period, building on what we have done this one. So this is a true partnership. This reflects the collaborative spirit of the I3 instrument itself. I wish you great 2 days of contacts and connections. Thank you very much.
Thank you for these great opening words. The I3 instrument is already making an impact and it's meant to stay. Let's dive deeper into some of those successes already achieved. And for that, I want to kick off the forum with a session dedicated to summarizing some of the early results and successes of the I3 instrument. And to do this, I would like to welcome on stage an extraordinary group of panel members. I would like to invite to the stage Gérald Coulthard, Deputy Head of Unit at ESMEA, Maciej Lopotka, Policy Advisor at ESMEA, and please take your seats one by one. Please, an applause. Further, Jan-Philip Kramer, Partner and Head of Service at Prognos, a member of the I3 Support Facility. And finally, Santiago Donat, Principal Consultant at Technopolis Group and Coordinator of the I3 Support Facility. Great, extraordinary panel. And we'll ask each of you to give a short presentation to give some of those successes that are already highlighted. So I think the audience is in high anticipation. And first, I would like to come here to the lectern for the presentation, Gérald Coulthard. Please, the word is yours. And I'll take your seat.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Let me just check this, how this works. So, good morning. My name is Gérald Coulthard. I'm Deputy Head of Unit at ISMEA, and I'm really pleased and grateful to be here today. I'm pleased because the I3 instrument is really dear to my heart. I have to say it's a very good instrument. I've managed many of the instruments in the past in the Commission, and basically this one is really something that addresses multi-layers, like the connection between the regions, the stakeholders, and I think it's an excellent instrument. I wanted to say this first, and also the second thing that I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the beneficiaries and the participants because we see the work that you do every day, And this is really an excellent work. We start to see the first results of your project, and this is really excellent. And to echo what Nicolas said before, I witnessed actually last week the implementation dialogue with the commissioner, and the feedback was really genuine, honest, and I think we can really improve this instrument with all your feedback. So I'm really thankful for this, and I just wanted to say thank you on this one, and go then to my presentation. So if I go to the next slide, and I have to understand how this works. Yes. So basically, many of you know already how this instrument works, but it's about strengthening the innovation in Europe's regions. In particular, you have 3 items where you can really see what it's all about. So the first thing is it's an interregional instrument. You have 3 to 5 minimum partners in our consortium, and they are from different member states and regional ecosystems. That's the very first pillar of this instrument. The second one is linked to the TRL levels. For those of you not so keen on the TRL levels, it's basically giving you the technology readiness level, and technology regional level 6 is basically a prototype in a relevant environment, goes up to 9, which is a commercialization of the instrument. So this is where we are in this, and it's important to understand this goes to the innovation part of the scheme. So it's really focused on innovation, commercialization, demonstration. It's innovation and impact oriented, and also it relates to investment. Investments is the third part of this presentation. Here you can see the budget, which is of 490 million euros, which is available budget for the period 2021 to 2027. And during our implementation, we fund up to 10 million euros for the different projects that we have. So it's quite a substantial amount that is put on the table. And 70% of this budget of EU contribution is given to beneficiaries in all cost categories. And it goes up to 100% for the SMEs through the FSTP or cascade funding, as we call it. We have a focus as well on 3 different topics. It's basically on green transition, digital transition, and smart manufacturing. These are the core of the type of projects that we fund, and these are the areas which are basically financed under this scheme. There is also a number of strands that you can see, and sometimes there are different names like INV1, INV2A, and INV2B, but here I would like to talk about strand 1, which is a support for investment in interregional innovation projects, and this is in shared specialization area, which is very important to connect regions. We have the same area of interest. So that's really something very important in this scheme, to have partners who are dealing with the same area of interest. So strand 2A is basically supporting investment in interregional innovation projects for the development of value chain in less developed regions. So that's one of the key differences. Less developed regions are more prominent in this type of projects. And finally, the strand 2B is about capacity building. And this is for the development of value chains in less developed regions. So very focused on these regions which are in need of development and capacity. Finally, I should obviously mention the I3 support facility, which helps us today in this whole organization. So I'm very grateful as well for all the organizers. And thank you. And this actually provides technical assistance and experimentation and feedback on the implementation of our project. So it's a very important part of the funding. And we are very grateful for this organization today. Looking at the I3 instrument methodology, you can see this nice arrow, which basically goes from the capacity building part, which is very important to get to learn and connect stakeholders. This is where the ideation of the projects are being built for less developed regions in particular. So this is where you can start to build business cases, investment cases, and this is starting really for the ones in need of capacity building. And this is the learn and connect phase. And this is basically the CAP 2B. Then you go up the ladder for demonstration, commercialization, scale up with TRLs, which are going from 6 to 9, as we discussed before. And this is basically where the strand 1 and strand 2 are acting. So this is very important to understand that we have this first ideation phase about generating business cases, investment ideas, And then building on this, you can go up the ladder from cap 2B to strand 1 and strand 2A. So that's very good architecture here where you can see the meaning of these different instruments and how they connect between each other. So that's very nice way to see it. If I go to the next slide, it's about what are these 3 I's about. And basically it's interregional innovation investment. The first one is interregional dimension. So here you can see basically that it relates on very core important principle. The first one is the quadruple helix partnerships. It really make it at the center of the smart specialization strategy, the S3. And you can see that we expect to see public authorities, universities, RTOs, industry, business, associations, clusters, SME startups, and users, citizens being involved in this project. So the quadruple helix is very important aspect. I also mentioned the S3 as a coordination principle because indeed this area of interest creates connection, natural connections between the demand and supply side also, and this is also very important. That makes this instrument very particular where you have both the demand and supply side connected together. It's not so often that we have this in the Commission, and we either go to the demand or the supply side. This one developed value chains which are integrating these 2 aspects. So it's very, very important to do this. It's also address the right NUTS levels, the right regional level. We have minimum conditions in terms of ecosystem involved, and for the different strands, we have different eligibility criteria. But basically, it's about connecting investments and territories across value chains. Then, in terms of innovation dimension, all types of innovation are expected. If we take the definition of the Oslo Manual, innovation is about a new and improved products, processes, services, technologies, or business models made available to markets, governments, and society. And this is also a very important element to understand that we may have 4 different types of innovation. Product innovation for a new good or service that is significantly improved. We have the process innovation for a new or significantly improved production or delivery method. We have marketing innovations for a new way of marketing a product, packaging, or placement, promotion of pricing. And then organizational innovation with a new organization method in business practices, workplace, organization, or external relations. On this, I would like to come back on one of the projects that was mentioned by Nicola, I believe. It was the I for Green project. And this is a kind of project that touch upon all these different kind of innovations. It's a project about extraction in mining, and that really find a lot of process to reduce actually the pollution, and also this contributes to the autonomy of Europe and making sure that we don't have such dependencies. So, and this is the first project which finished. It's also the first project which also attracted external investors beyond Europe. So it's very important to notice this kind of project, which was the first to finish, really address many dimensions of innovation. And I'm looking forward to see more of these kind of projects, to see that we have traction and these projects are really sustainable and continue beyond the end of the project, actually. Then there is the investment dimension. So there is a part where we invest as the Commission and the agency. We have the tangible and intangible investments. Investments is also investments in communities, so it's not just about money, it's about the link that we create locally in the communities, and I think it's also the social dimension that is also important, and it should not be forgotten, in particular for less developed regions. But basically, they have the tangible and evident investment, crowding in private investors, for example, and this is a very important aspect. Then the projects are usually looking into a market analysis and have to develop a business and investment plan, so that makes it sustainable in the long run. We have also the fact that they have to identify time to market and the TRL departure of the project, so it has to start very high compared to other projects which are more on excellence or research and development. These ones are more on demonstration, adoption, commercialization. Then the defined public and private investments leveraged by the project is also something very important to this kind of projects. We have the multi-level architecture where we have national, regional, and European funding crowding in. The portfolio of balance, as we mentioned, across very different geographical regions. So we have the more transition and less developed regions, which are connecting together and creating value together. And of course, it's evidence-based, and we expect to see a territorial impact of this project at the end of the project. One element which I found particularly interesting for this project is really the part which is a portfolio approach. So identification within a specific thematic technological area of cooperation of a number of investment-ready sub-projects that addresses one or several challenges, bottlenecks faced by the consortium. And this is very important because there are different strategies. Some think that you should focus on one specific challenge. Others prefer to open it to several challenges and maybe and to pick the one in the end which will work. So it's really different approaches, but it works, and we will be happy to see actually what is the best when we have all the results of the project. Basically, what is the approach that makes more sense actually. But it's really important that today it's really open. You can address only one or several challenges. There are sub-projects within each I3 project, and it's very interesting to have this portfolio approach that allows you to really go deep or wide in different implementation. Now, if we look at the latest update, we have nowadays 70 projects in our portfolio. You can see that the total budget is a bit more than 300 million of budget committed, so 154 million for the Innovative Investment Strand 1, which is sometimes called INF1, and 147 million for the ones which are also focusing a bit more on the less developed regions, like the Innovative Instrument Strand 2A and the Capacity Building Cap 2B. We have nowadays close to 1,000 participants in all 27 EU countries, which is quite a feat, and we are very proud of this. And as we speak, we are on the verge of signing almost all of our 17 new projects in capacity building and investment. So this is something we are doing nowadays, and we are close to signing all of them. There is also the mentioning of the I3 support facility. Obviously, this is the first annual forum, and one of many, I hope. And I think it's a very important moment to gather, to share knowledge, and to really connect with each other. So this is a networking event also. And please take the opportunity to really connect and bring new ideas, because I'm a strong believer that knowledge is the thing that actually grows when you share it. So believe in sharing and connecting with each other. There is also the I3 Observatory, which is a tool to monitor I3 instrument progress, strengths, and outcomes. And there is also, soon to be, I think, a partner search platform for online space to connect basically I3 consortia. So these are very interesting aspects of the I3 support facility. You'll know more in the next few minutes or hours. And for your information, for the calls that we are running in the agency, we have one Cap 2B call opening in October 2025. This is the last one, so please go and find partners for this one. And we still have 2 calls for the Investment 1 and Investment 2A calls in 2026, in 2027. If we look at the budget, basically in terms of implementation, as I mentioned, we have already awarded a total of a bit more than 300 million euros in the agency. You can still see the available budget for 2025 and 2027. So we have 79 million approximately for INF1, 86 million for INF2, and for the Cap 2B, around 10 million euros left. Then, if we look at the timeline, basically I will just start from the 2024 of September, this is today. And as mentioned, the Cap 2B call will open on the 23rd of October, and we expect to close it on the 20th of March 2026. We will have also the closure of the M1 and 2A call on the 13th of November. So this is also very important. And we have Coordinators Day on the 6th and 7th November for newcomers, and this will take place in the agency. Let's not forget the Info Day for the CAP to be actually on the 2nd of December as well. What are the lessons learned? We are starting to learn. It took some time because obviously the first project ended this year, and we are getting more and more input from the projects. We also got it, as I mentioned last week, from the implementation dialogue with the commissioner, and also had the pleasure yesterday to attend what I would call a cluster meeting with some coordinators yesterday. And basically, what we learn is about collaboration. So collaboration is key. You can see the cross-regional collaboration. Sharing best practices and resources enhances regional capacities and competitiveness. Competitiveness is key, so that's a word you will hear again and again and again. So really focus on this. There is a focus also on the community impact. So it's about ensuring that innovation projects have tangible benefits for the communities, local communities, improving quality of life, and fostering inclusive economic growth. Another lesson learned from the project is about the capacity building. Prioritize training and development programs for SMEs and less developed regions, local authorities to leverage local talents effectively. It can be very difficult sometimes. I had the pleasure also to discuss with one of you already this morning and see how difficult it is sometimes to actually get some traction from the less developed regions because they actually need to have this capacity to be able to participate in our project. So it's really important to focus on this when you deal with CAP2B proposal in particular. Then the holistic approach to solutions, combining various innovations and approaches lead to more comprehensive and effective results. Yes, that is absolutely true. The collaboration across the sectors, several projects require active involvement from the quadruple helix stakeholders. On this one, I cannot insist enough on the adoption. So it's very good to have solutions, but think about adoption and scale up. It's really primary to understand that we fund this project. It's also about de-risking. And de-risking is also about implementing this project on the ground for the population, for the local communities. So this is really important to make sure that we are actually getting adoption of these technologies, innovations which are developed in our projects. Finally, integration of innovation, linking existing innovation that can create powerful, holistic solutions, as well as interconnected platforms which increase utility and impact of technological solutions. Indeed, it's about integration as well. It's about connection as well. So with this, I would like to leave you and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much for giving us a clear overview to be on the same page. What is the I3 instrument? What are the different strands? Then I would like now to invite to the lecture Maciej Lopatka, Policy Advisor at ESMEA, please.
Good morning from my side. So my name is Maciej Lopatka. I work for ESMEA, and more specifically dealing with so-called feedback to policy. So the idea is indeed to try to see, to harvest what the program delivers, what the projects deliver, and how it can feed back design of policy's future programming activities. So as it was said, we are in 2025, fifth year of the implementation, I mean, counting from 2024, let's say fourth, because this was the year where the first calls have been launched. 11 calls behind us, 70 projects funded. 352 proposals submitted so far, which makes around 20% of success rate so far. I will try to present you some, I mean, it will be a bit complementary presentation to what you heard before. It's through tapping into the data, trying to see what insights we see through analyzing the data we have, we collect through the applications and projects funded, and what we can learn from it. So this work was as well supported by my colleague, Sumi Rabota, I would like to thank very much. So let's start. Okay, so I will concentrate on two different layers. So one will be the grants, so the projects which we funded so far, and then the proposals, so all interest expressed by the community, which we received through the submitted proposals. So for what regards the grants, here is the funding allocation for all three strands, looking through the prism of the cohesion status. So as you can see, under strand 1, the most, let's say, beneficial are the more developed regions, transition and then less, while for CAP to be the most beneficial, the most relevant or supported are the regions under so-called less developed regions. So this is something that I would like to only share with you. So it's the idea of this presentation is not to make any conclusion, but to show you what we see when analyzing the data, and of course, you can make your own conclusions. Now, let's see a bit how the map looks when looking through the different strands of I3 so far, so all the calls that we organized so far. There are some, the most, let's say, supported regions or the most funded regions, and some of these regions are similar for all three strands, which is very interesting. As you can see, for example, if I will go now through the other slides on strand 2A and as well CAP 2B, and you will see, for example, that Catalonia, if you look at the Catalonia, is always black. So this is one of the examples. Of course, I will not go through every single example. I can come back? Yes. The other regions that I spotted is in Romania, Nord-Est as well. If you look, it's always black, so it's another example. We have as well, for example, in the north of Italy, very present regions are, of course, Lombardia and Emilia-Romagna. In the first, in strand 1, both of them are very, let's say, successful. In strand 2A, it's Lombardia, which is on top, and in CAP 2B is the Emilia-Romagna. So, of course, these are, I mean, you can see other examples, but it's just to show you which regions are supported under A3, and currently, we support 71% of all regions. So 174 out of 244 regions are supported under I3 through all the strands. If we look at the applications, it's only 9% that haven't been, we didn't receive any proposal from those 9% of regions. So maybe we should look to those regions to see, I mean, how we can support them. So now regarding the top 20 regions which appear for all the strands, Italy, Lombardia is the first one, and then you can see with the allocated budget so far. So of course it's related to the activity, to the infrastructure, to the activity of regional authorities in supporting various actors in the regions. But what's interesting as well, that in this top 20 we have as well some very performant regions from the less developed, let's say, category. And this is Zahodna from Slovenia, and you can see is the first one when looking at the top 20 of less developed regions. And this is mainly due to the promotion that has been supported and very active in this region. And of course, by promoting I3 instruments, you will start having some applications, and then of course, if well prepared, those will translate into the funded grants. So success rate, as you know, is how calculated, is that if you are successful, I mean, how many times you are successful with respect to how many times you tried, right? So the highest success rate we have seen is 80%. For the region in the Netherlands. So they got 4 projects. So they are participating in 4 projects, and they submitted 5 proposals, which make 80%. And the lowest, of course, goes down. It's not to see, I mean, who are the most performant or successful or not. It's simply to make you aware that the capacity of preparing a good proposal is different in different regions. Of course, these are not mono-beneficiary applications, so you work within a team, it's a consortium, but it's important as well to try to learn from others how to prepare a successful proposal, because it's a lot of effort that is being put in the preparation. And so it's good to try to improve, to learn from what is the feedback from the evaluation of your proposal. Okay, now let's go to the, so this was about the funded projects mainly. Now we will be looking a bit more to the proposals. So what is the interest from the community of I3 in the Europe? And as you will see, I mean, it's a big success. This is at least what shows the data. So this is the evolution of number of proposals submitted throughout the years from 2022, which February, the first calls were organized, until last December, which the last call we had. And if looking at the trend, of course, it's a positive trend. We see doubling, sometimes more even, number of proposals submitted, with some slight variations, maybe depending on various timing of the calls that were organized, but overall we see growing interest in the I3 instrument. Now when looking at the success rate, of course, calculated at the level of call evaluation, then it goes down from 44, which was the highest, basically approaching 10%, which is somehow considered as a it's the very tiny boundary between being prestigious and an unacceptable risk to submit a proposal for some of the organizations. So I think we should pay attention and make sure that there is enough funding provided to I3, so it can become a prestigious instrument, but as well allowing for acceptable risk to be taken to get support. Evolution of applicants, so you can see, I mean, the family is growing. So I look to the data, and the overall number of participation so far is more than 4,500. If I look at the unique participation, is almost 3,000. So on average, each participant participates in the 1.5 applications. So this is, I mean, reassuring that indeed we are now known as I3 instrument in Europe. So it's great, but of course we would need to see what are these 9% of regions which are not yet in our family, have never tried to submit a proposal. Okay, now I will look very quickly to the kind of higher focus on the last three calls, so from November and December 2024. To tell you that indeed in these three last calls we have seen that 71% of the all applicants are new. So they were not, we didn't see them in the previous calls, which of course it's a very positive sign for us. It means that we are more known. I mean, there is more interest of as well new stakeholders who would like to become part of I3 family. Now, when they're looking at the applications as well from three calls, 15% of applicants appear in multiple proposals. So of course it means that you are not only trying once, but you are part of the collaborations and you participate in several proposals. What we have seen indeed, that there are 2 applicants who are part of 10 different applications, 2 which are 7 different applications, and so forth, and the 171 who were part of 2 different proposals. So of course it's good. You can, I believe, try in different configurations while being part of different consortia when submitting applications. Of course, it's to be seen if the application is successful. Some statistics about the proposals received in the last 3 calls. So 34 for Strand 1, 35 Strand 2A, and 77 Cap 2B, which was a big steep increase. Average requested budget, you can see 6 million, 5 million, and a bit, almost 1.5. Number of applying participants per call, Cap 2B the highest one, and cumulative requested budget. So of course, as it was said, 490 million for the whole current perspective, and then more than 300 already have been committed. So there's still some budget. So I would suggest if you are interested to continue and make another try to get another interesting project funded, please make sure that you are ready for the last 2 years and calls organized. Type of organizations we have been looking as well. So you can see what per type of organization, how they participate in different strands. So private for-profit entities, so basically private companies, they are the most participating in the strand 1, while, for example, the research organizations that are very present in capacity building, as well for the public bodies. So if we put the proposal applicants into the perspective of per million inhabitants, we see that indeed Slovenia is the top performer, as being as well top 1 in the less developed regions in the participation of I3. So you can see as well in the perspective, relative perspective to the size of countries, how many applicants we have seen in the calls under I3 instrument. And then some geographical representation of the applicants from last calls. You can see that there are strong participation for all 3 strands from, for example, Catalonia, as I mentioned before. But as well, there are other regions. There are some, let's say, blanks on the Europe map. So, of course, these are only last 3 calls. But this is just to show you a bit geographically how the applications have been distributed over 3 strands. Cohesion status and applicants. So we can see how we triangulated the strands against the cohesion status. And you see, I mean, that indeed for CAP2B, the most present regions are the less developed regions, while for this strand 1 and 2A, I mean, these are, of course, the more developed regions, but as well very strong participation of less developed regions under strand 2A, which is reassuring. And this is the end of my short presentation, is just to give you a taste. We will be trying to dig deeper into the data. Of course, there are many other aspects that we would like to investigate, like collaborations, what are the most successful or more within specific sectors, collaborations among partners or beneficiaries, applicants in Europe, to see a bit what evidence it provides us for the next MFF and how we can shape next future calls under I3. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Maciej, for very interesting insights. Being born and raised myself in the province of Drenthe in the Netherlands makes me proud to see them on top of the success. But living and working in Lithuania and not seeing either of the regions there yet in the success, there's work to do. So there's actually more interesting insights to come. And for that, I want to invite here to the lecturer Jan-Philip Kramer, partner and head of EU services at Prognos and member of the I3 support facility, with some insights about the observatory. Please.
Thank you very much. Good morning. More data to come, I could say. But more importantly, I would say complementarity. And complementarity is something that is engraved in the I3 instrument, because it's really about bringing together the different pieces in the European innovation ecosystem. And complementarity, I would say, is also part of our panel today, so I will be not repeating any data, but I will try to go into some of the observations that are coming out of our investigations as part of the work in the I3 support facility. And I hope that they also trigger further debate and further insights into shaping the future of the I3 instrument. So, very clear structure. We already learned that very clearly in the beginning. So the 3 I's will be structuring. That's all I need to say, my intervention. And before digging into some of our observations, I just wanted to give you a brief overview also what is coming. It was already mentioned, there is this so-called I3 observatory, and we are analyzing and monitoring the implementation of the I3. We already heard from Maciej very important insights from the monitoring side. But we will also go a bit deeper in understanding reasons for success, also how projects are evolving over time. And this is done in 3 components. We have an annual report. We have an interactive dashboard, which is available very soon. I will talk about that. And then we also have project features, which are helpful to, on the one hand, explain what is really going on, maybe also to present these projects to the interested stakeholders from the regions, but also, of course, beyond that, when we look at the investment side of the projects. And I don't go all into the data sources here, but I wanted to thank all the participants from the I3 coordination to be supportive of the surveys, and there will be more coming, so please remain supportive also in the future, because this data is very crucial for us to have an insight also into the implementation successes, maybe some of the barriers, and also the future prospects. So, the interregional dimension, you've already seen similar maps by Maciej, so I can keep this a bit shorter, but I wanted to come in with the first message also from that. And as you all know, the debate about fragmentation and innovation gap is, I wouldn't say as old as the European Union, but it has been around for a long time. And there were always the questions, how can we bridge this better? And there are many other programs that have been focusing on different things, but the I3 instrument was really the one that we see now is filling an important gap. And so the first message that I want to bring to you is that the I3 instrument actually fuels innovation beyond the traditional hotspots. And this presentation here on the map is similar to what you've seen, so I cut it a bit short, but the key message coming from the data, we counted a little bit different. We counted the number of participations. So if an organization participates more than one at one time, it's included here. So we come not to 1,000, but to 1,260. It's the same baseline, but just not that you get confused with the numbers here. And we see that more than 30% are from less developed regions, right? So it is not just linked into the traditional hotspots. And we were looking a bit deeper and understanding what types of less developed regions have high participations. We already heard a few, and you see a few more here in the dark orange on the map, including some of the Baltics, but also Andalusia and regions in Portugal and Italy, and so on. What is really triggering higher participation rates? And of course, we talk about capacity. Capacity building is very central to the I3. And it's also here where we see higher participation. We have a dynamic SME landscape, and we also have stronger skills and education systems, often linked in universities that are helping to also participate. So some first insights here. So my second message is, I talked about fragmentation, and then the question is, do we really build bridges? So we believe, and I think everyone can confirm when looking at this map, that the I3 instrument is linking many different regions. And looking at this from a network perspective, on the one hand, is a bit confusing because you see so many lines on this map. But at the same time, it shows you that it's not as we have in other networks, like looking at horizon, looking at patterns, where you see much, much stronger concentrations. So almost 10,000 interregional linkages that we have counted in the different projects. That's around 8 per participant. That's also quite relevant to say, or per participation to be more precise. And again, we have a good balance of participation from more developed and less developed regions. And I gave you already some of the indications when you compare the less developed regions and the representation in these connections in Horizon Europe. We come to 12%. It's 32 for the I3, and in patent activities and patent networks, it's even less, right? So this is very essential from our point of view because it shows the right direction. Now, where are these projects coming from? That's another question and the first insight also from the survey that we've run. And the message is clear, and we already heard this from Nicola de Michelis in the beginning. There is a legacy, and when you look at the I3 instrument by design, they're not just starting there, so they need to come from somewhere, and they're kind of seeded in other formats. So they build on prior collaboration, and if we want to bring things closer to the market, that's also clear. It's a matter of trust, but it's also a matter of pre-established developments. And So the numbers from the survey are quite clear. So collaboration in other public programs on the EU, national, regional level are the key facilitator. 90% of the projects are coming from there. We heard already about some of these examples from Horizon 2020 or the Interreg project, Baltic Blue Growth, which went into the I3 Baltic Muppets. So a number of those things. It's also important to say that the S3 thematic platforms are a governance mechanism which is utilized in building I3 projects, and that's the first indication also to the links into smart specialization. Now, the innovation dimension. We have already been greatly introduced to the concept of TRLs, so I can build upon that. And the message is also clear. It's not just a feature by design, it's also something that we can see when looking at the projects. So 80% of the projects in the survey have indicated that they have been starting at TRL 6. No one could start lower, as we know. And they are all progressing. I think this is the key message I wanted to give here. The key message is we see them progressing in the TRL levels. And the expectation for the end of the surveyed projects is that 90% of them will reach TRL 8 or 9. So that's, I think, a very important message when it comes to also getting things closer to the market. TRL 9, market ready, 30% say that's where they end, this is good. And it's also important to say that capacity building projects are functioning as they should be, because they're preparing capacities to participate in the next rounds of the I3 instruments. Now, I talked about smart specialization very briefly, just to round this picture up, we do see that S3, also by design, as I said, but also by the operational implementation, is linked, and the S3 platforms are central here. We see that the integration is a bit more skewed towards the industrial modernization element, which is very important also for industrial competitiveness. And that with the I3, we have a good mix also in engagement levels with different authorities. So also opening up the ERDF space of the managing authorities into the more interregional picture is something that is happening. And last but not least, cluster organizations. I wanted to mention this because I think they're very important bridge keepers and gatekeepers, if you want. And they're becoming more important, as we see, and more than 80% of the surveyed projects are actually either coordinated or at least interacting with cluster organizations. Investment. We heard already about all of these numbers, I think I'm not summarizing now the differentiation by the type of region, but what I want to say is that we can observe this engagement levels from the private sector. And this is also what the I3 instrument should do, right? We want to get closer to the market, so we're not just talking about research. And what we see is that in less developed regions, the participation rate of private companies is quite advancing and also quite successful. You see that on the left side of the slide, private company engagement in the I3 and the average funding that they're receiving is not at the same, but close to the level of the funding on average that we see in more developed regions. And that's the key message here that I wanted to provide to you, that we are reaching and we are engaging private sector companies with all of the challenges that are sometimes there. And how is that done, and why is it important to use cascade funding or the SFTP? Because it's flexible. That's all I think you know here in the room, but we also see that in the survey that this is very much appreciated. And this is very interesting. What is the follow-up? And we discussed this in multiple domains, right? The follow-up from public funding should be private funding, right? And this is, I think, a very interesting picture. So on the one hand, we want projects not to collapse after public funding has disappeared. And we can have good hopes that this is really substantiated in the context of I3. On the one hand, because projects have a legacy where they start from, but on the other hand, because they're building something that can take onwards. And so fostering stable collaboration is something that the consortia have really acknowledged to either expand their collaborations or continue in the same scope. There are only 17% that said, well, we're going to stop after this project in this constellation. And then we have, of course, for some projects, we do need further public funding. And this is what you see, especially when people are talking about new initiatives, that they maybe need more research, applied research to be done before they can bring it closer to the market. But we also see that for those who are sustaining project activities, internal financing and more so private equity financing or investments are becoming a very important funding opportunity and plan. So this is really the message I wanted to give. It's not just about next public finance projects, but it's really looking into the private capital markets that we need in order to scale these innovations. And as I'm told to come to an end, I will do so. I think from what the data shows us, we have seen many very important insights, and now complementing with what I had presented here, one can say that the I3 for the moment is delivering on the mission that is intended, because it sets up interregional innovation investments. They have SME access, we have TRL progression, we have enhanced less developed regions integration, and therefore we have a good mix of anchoring our regional innovation systems as it was intended. And this, I think, is a good message also for the MFF discussions. I thank you all for your attention, and I will be around for further questions. Thank you. How could I forget? But maybe, Sander, you allow me 1 minute? The dashboard. The I3 Observatory dashboard is online now. You see the QR code. You can download it or access it on the website, and it will bring you some very important insights from the data that we have collected on the project collaborations. It's the beta version, so please look into it. It will be developed further in the next few days and weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. Now I know when during this conference you'll be on your phone, you'll be actually checking the dashboard. So, but still, please keep your attention, because the last speaker of this panel will introduce not the specific strands, but the I3 support facility. The I3 support facility as an opportunity to engage, interact, learn, take stock. And for that, I want to welcome to the lecture Santiago Donat. Please.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sander. Well, it's difficult to add something new about after all the speeches we have had, because support facility, it's, well, now I will. The support facility is an instrument to complement and reinforce the objectives of the I3 instrument. So many of the things have been discussed already, but yes, I'm going to focus on the services we are providing, and also either you are an innovative SMEs or a technological center or a university that are looking for another partners, other cases to exchange, looking for synergies, or you are a public authority engaged in interregional cooperation or wanting to engage in interregional cooperation. These services, this platform might be useful for you. The first of all is the why. In the beginning of the period, well, interregional collaboration is in the European agenda from a long time ago, well, a couple of years. But there are some challenges that are facing innovative stakeholders and public authorities to engage in this type of projects, especially in less developed regions, are related to governance and relationship between public authorities and innovative agents in regions, or the capacity to prepare and promote these interregional pan-European projects, or also the innovative capacities of SMEs in certain regions to absorb all the knowledge they have in the regions, etc., etc. And also, there, after the first calls, and I'm saying that this is being, you know, as a good news, being solved or mitigated, is that more developed regions were very much present in the beginning, which is it's not a conclusion, just was a fact, but they were missing also the opportunity to bring actors from less developed regions, because it's not only, we see this not only as a cohesion, solidarity instrument, which is in fact, but also more developed regions can benefit with talent and pilots in less developed regions and bring more innovative and projects to in the portfolio. So, and then also the high number of applications in the first call of capacity building call. It was the highest number of applications received, and so a lot of interest to keep learning and connecting actors to start with these interregional collaboration projects. So, as I said, the support facility is to help these innovation stakeholders and to reinforce the objectives of the I3 instrument that we have heard before. So we are focused on promoting interregional collaboration, innovation capacities, especially in less developed regions, and also support these pilot projects that will unlock joint investments and also building these strong EU value chains. But as I said, is reinforcing the objective of the I3 instrument. So who is the I3 support facility for? We have our clients, let's say, or target audience is quite diverse, but through the services I'm going to present, you will, all of them will find useful, interesting options. It's the innovation stakeholders, namely the beneficiaries that can participate in an I3 project, that want to expand networks, find partners, or showcase their I3 project achievements. Also public authorities, smart specialization authorities, for example, or also ERDF managing authorities or entities that are managing ERDF in the field of innovation that are engaged or aiming to engage in interregional collaboration. But we have a third target entity, which is DigiRegio and ISMEA, that are very much interested to learn about the implementation of this program and this project, and to fit in the policy and to continuously improve the design of the instrument, but also the policy. So these are our three target audiences. And how they can benefit. I will go more fast here, and we will enter in detail later with the services, but we provide a collaboration platform and a learning and knowledge sharing platform, and you can find partners, promote your project achievements, looking for another projects and looking for synergies with another I3 projects. We are also providing some publications, like practical applications, like how to prepare I3 projects, or analytical articles to showcase these I3 successes and how this interacts with policy activities today in innovation policy, et cetera, et cetera. We also provide a space to share your experiences, and you can, either you are a policymaker or an innovative actor, you can share your experience, learn from other cases, but also to help policymakers to test new solutions and to promote interregional innovation, and also the networking and events. We have monthly virtual events, but also physical events like this one, and also we are planning national, regional events throughout Europe. So all services is in one website, and you can also use the QR. We have a long URL, but I think it's very good in order to really learn by heart interregional innovation investments. And at the end, this is going to look like short. And everything is here. We are developing all the services, and for example, we will find all the services in this website, both services and products we are producing. Going to the services. First of all, the I3 Observatory that Jan introduced before is for the monitoring of the I3 project implementation in order to take insights and identify trends, and also give feedback to the policy of ISMEA and DigiRegio. But it's not only this annual observatory report that was presented in Jan. but also these I3 project descriptions. We've been working very hard. In the past months, it's not a repository of project descriptions by itself, but it is also, we have done this in collaboration with the coordinators, so we have descriptions, but also we have, in this map, you can see easily which regions are participating, but also you can see the pilot that each region is developing, because as you know, it was said, it's a portfolio approach, so there are different pilots in different regions in one same project, so it's very interesting to see that. And also we provide more details about the 3 I's, the 3 pillars, the type of partners, depending on the category of regions, also the innovation, a description of the innovation that is being developed, but also the investment. What are the investment mobilized, the leverage of public funding? Everything is updated with latest developments. It's not only the information in the beginning of the project. So we have also results, first results, and testimonials. And we are developing the first batch, and we're happily showing the first round, but the 70 projects for the moment will be there. And then the dashboard, also a very interesting tool. You will be able, even you are innovative SMEs, you can find another projects in you can filter by sector, by type of entity, region, but also if you are a regional authority, you want to know about another cases, another entities doing the same. So every type of entity can find useful information about the I3 projects, and this is updated regularly. Just to continue, the partnerships, we are still developing it, but it will be a place with easy registration, but keeping the security and the incentives to register, but yes, simple registration, and you will find other partners from different typologies and different regional development levels. Also, we want to link it with their S3 priorities. Also, we want to put the project story of the different entities, so we will try to integrate. We are aiming at integrating sources from other public databases, and so on, and you will have more information about this in the future. Then, another important feature is the policy discussion groups. The policy discussion groups is a peer learning and knowledge sharing in policy making. It's not only for policymakers, but also to those actors that participate in policymaking in the regions. We leverage in these groups I3 project results. We collect good practices about interregional innovation investment, but most important, we help or promote capacity of the regional authorities to design and test new solutions to promote interregional innovation activities. We have 9 discussion groups foreseen in this 3-year project that I didn't say in the beginning, 3 per year, and it is formed or organized with expression of interest. The next one of the 2nd year, the 4th, 5th, and 6th discussion group will be in November 2025. It's 15 experts per group, and also we decide the topic. The topic we have this year is how to engage managing authorities in interregional collaboration. So we have participation, a balanced participation between public bodies and knowledge entities. How you can align the funding, the regional funding to the I3 project cycle, or how you can help public authorities and civil servants to integrate interregional collaboration in their instruments and their policy, so on, so on. Then also value chain creation and how SMEs can, especially in less developed regions, can easily jump in this pan-European value chain, and also ecosystem management. One of the questions is how to go from project-based approach to promote interregional collaboration to a more ecosystem approach where projects come more naturally into this flow of interregional collaboration. And then the capacity building heroes working group is just to address specific challenges in capacity or stand to be projects. Is for project coordinators of capacity building, so they will present their challenges, their success, or their problems to sustain the projects after the financing is ending, and also learnings for investment projects. There are 2 working groups per year and 2 study visits per year, and we are producing, there are materials and materials that will come out after this activity to be shared with the rest of the community. And then the virtual events, I'm gonna finish, but we are happy with this activity. Is on topics every month, every Wednesday at 2 normally. We organize an event with topics related to interregional collaboration, very much focused on the activity of I3 beneficiaries. You can learn practical insights and experiences from other people or experts. And we have 12 every year. Yeah, the thematic is very diverse. I will advance, but you have from how to manage an interregional collaboration project with experiences from project coordinators or meeting private investors, how they are interested in these innovation projects when they are close to market, et cetera, et cetera. We invite you to register to these virtual events. In the website, you have all the past virtual events with the presentations, the videos, recordings, and also the link of the next virtual event. Events and networking, you see here, it's our annual gathering, but we are also organizing other events like national events, regional events. But today we are here with the forum, but also next day, tomorrow, with the I3 Coordinators Day. So we are also busy organizing these events and to ensure what you are seeing today. And I will not focus much, but also the national and regional events. This is just to especially in those countries with less participation, but not only, but where we can organize specific days together with the regional national authority to promote the benefits of the interregional collaboration projects, interregional investments in innovation. So we are organizing this type of national regional events. It's more or less at least two per year. We have gone already to Lithuania. And we organized this event, and we had representatives from DG Regio, support facility, and also regional authorities and technical knowledge entities from Lithuania. That was all. We are coming up with more materials and events to promote this exchange and connection between the ecosystem and to give all the tools that the potential participants or good participants may have to maybe continue I3 projects. I invite you to visit the website and subscribe to the community. We don't spam too much, but you will be invited, informed about the events, but also we have a bi-monthly newsletter with all the information about the I3 and other interregional cooperation initiatives. So please join to the community. So thank you. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Santiago. Please do subscribe, do join us. It's good to see you here present. We would love to stay in touch with you and see how we can exchange information, knowledge, experiences with you and you together as well. With that, I want to ask you to give a warm applause for our panel members for sharing so many interesting insights with us. Please, thanks for participation. I wish we had time for questions. We don't. I think you're very excited and you want to ask questions. So I'll ask, please be available for the networking lunch. Find them, approach them, and ask your questions. Thank you for your participation, and we'll move to the next panel session. Thanks. So we've heard from the high level, what is I3 instrument, what's the program, what are successes, insights, data, analytics, super exciting, super interesting, but in my experience, it's also good to hear from projects themselves, the actual stories, the actual examples of people that can share experiences. So I'm super proud that we have, for our next session, representatives of I3 projects willing to share their experiences with you. What have they learned? What are the successes? So those successes can be replicated. I would like, therefore, to welcome on stage first Christina Baggio from the Sustain X project. Please, warm applause. Ins Vixna from the Starrise project. Angel Frier, representing SESAM and InShape, two i3 projects. Please welcome to stage. Anita Tregner-Mlinaric, representing RISE project. And finally, Paola Bello, representing the i3 projects, Ambitious and Epic. And I would like to start to kick off this session by inviting Christina from the Sustain X project. Please, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much for having us here. I was actually impressed by the numbers before, and probably we will not be able to reach the same level of detail of the presentation. However, I just want to say before starting the actual presentation that we are from one of the lucky regions. We are from Northeast Romania region that has been there put in more intense color, being a very active region. And also our organization is now coordinating two i3 capacity building projects. We were like a lucky streak. We were probably in the best position to take advantage of this wonderful program. So, Digital Innovation Zone, which we are presenting, is not a cluster. It's an European Digital Innovation Hub, and maybe this is also part of the potential success story that that we want to present. We can go to the slides now. I can click like this. Yes, thank you so much. The topic of the Sustain X project was and still is quite broad because we are focusing on sustainability and digital transformation with a specific flavor for all the regions involved. But what put us all together, all the partners together, was actually thinking, what can we get out of this project that will keep us continuing beyond the current financing framework? As I told you before, I'm coming from an European Digital Innovation Hub that in Romania are quite successful, are supported from European Commission, from Digital Euro program, but also are supported from the member state. Not the same thing is happening in all the member states. So, and probably this was also one of our incentives as an organization, as a coordinator and project initiator, to find an approach that will support sustainability of our efforts beyond project funding. I think this is something that we always took into consideration, and we try to bring together the partners that are feeling the same way about this type of project. And we are coming from, as I said, Northeast Romania, a modest innovator region. And another point to take into consideration is that we are constantly the last country in the Digital Economy and Society Index. So it's not a technology-prone region, but on the other hand, the organizations that are working under Sustain X project are very much focused on developing digital transformation support systems for their regions. Very, very briefly, again, why I'm putting this here, because we are a different type of organization, not a cluster, not a university, not a private entity, that is empowering the region to be active. And we try to merge a model of innovation support services from the European Digital Innovation Hub model to the i3 community and the i3 program, trying to create sustainability, trying to create complementarity, trying actually to create a support system of innovation support activities for for the final beneficiaries, for the SMEs. We have been working with huge numbers as an organization, with huge numbers of entities from public to private companies. We have been running programs on healthcare, on manufacturing, on cybersecurity, working with different type of SMEs, but they do all have shared challenges. I'm talking here about the region I represent, but also about the other regions that are part of the project. They still lack support for value chain development. They still lack support for inter-regional cooperation. Actually, one of the SMEs we are discussing with says that the I3 capacity building program came for them like a blessing, because they have a very good solution, a very good product, a good TRL, they can improve it at regional level, but they don't know how to find other partners from other regions with whom to develop or collaborate in good terms. That's why we are implementing now. We are somehow at the middle of a two-year project, a focus on digital sustainable innovation with 7 partners, 1.4 million euro funding. So just the normal recipe of the standard recipe of all capacity building projects, as we have seen here. We have partners from different parts of Europe, and also we have different types of organization, from EDIHs as us, from clusters, business support organization, or RTOs. We tried to identify gaps between the two programs, the EDIH program and the I3 program, and build a bridge between the support services, the business support services and activities that are being developed by the two of them. So while in EDIHs we are currently focusing on very tech-oriented test before invest digital maturity assessment, we are developing the approach in SustainX to build an investment pipeline for this digital innovation. So just the next step, just the answer to the question of where should we go next beyond the EDIH funding and EDIH traditional activities. So this should create a clear post-digital transformation pathway for the SMEs, like a clear path from technology testing, technology validation, of course understanding what is innovation definition specific for each organization, to supporting market and cross-regional scaling and funding. Of course, the important and the distinctive part of SustainX program is that we are focused also on sustainable digital innovation. That's why one of the tools and training activities, capacity building activities for the consortium and for the SMEs is around sustainability and even on ESG-aligned growth pathways. What we are creating in this project is a one-stop shop investment support concept. It's going to be a localized support model that brings together all the key actors inside the region, from, as I said, EDIHs, business support organization, technology transfer offices, development agencies, or clusters that will guide via a structured methodology that we are developing within the project these SMEs through their innovation investment journey. Of course, we are now at the stage where we are still implementing trainings and capacity buildings for those SMEs, and starting 2026, we will be going towards innovation project diagnosis and sustainable innovation, ESG innovation, market readiness, guidance for them to access I3 and other EU investment instruments. And actually, this is one of our, let's say, targets, maybe not put as a KPI in the grant agreement, but is an internal target that by next year we will have a strong pipeline of I3 in strand 1 and 2 from SMEs that we have been growing together in this project. So we are aiming for this to be a scalable model, can be piloted by any other business support organization. And of course, since we are an EDI age, we aim to pilot it via several EDI ages after we are testing it and improving it in Romania. And actually, we're aiming for this, not S3, but S4, smart, simple, and scalable support for future-ready SMEs. This is something that came out of the acronyms of what we are working with. We are just starting working with SMEs. So part of this is methodology. It's not a success story by my own perspective, but it's just a different approach we hope that will inspire you to merge and complement different models that are happening at the European level via different funding strands. Just starting, we have launched an open call for advisory support services for the SMEs. We are working in 2 phases with them. First is going to be training, capacity building, and then the graduates, the more innovative, will go through in detail investment support analysis, market pathways, technological advice, and so on. So if you can support us with sharing the call opportunity, we would be much grateful. And I think this is all from my part, and looking forward to the rest of the presentations. Thank you.
Please. Thank you, Christina. Great insights. I'm already getting quite some questions I want to ask. I hope you start thinking about questions what to ask. We'll first have all the presentations, short presentations, and then we have the opportunity to ask the questions and to share experiences and learn from each other. So next, I want to invite Ins. Your turn to present the StarRise project. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. And first of all, huge thanks for this opportunity to stand in front of you and share our knowledge, our experience. And when I was sitting here in the front, I was thinking that I have some dual feelings. More than a year ago, I had this opportunity also to stand in front in the coordinators' days and present our project. And when I was presenting our project, I understand that I have pretty much nothing to present. We have just started the project. So, and then I had to show something what we had in application and what we will move forward and what will be our expectations. And now today, preparing this project presentation, I was thinking that we have achieved something. And some words about our project. You should remember only one name, StarRise. The rest is the name of the project application. But to make it short, this project is about the new value chain creation in agri-food and logistics sectors. And we are working across the whole Europe. We are 7 partners, and we are rather remotely positioned, but the idea is that we as partners, as hubs on the regional level, and then we are having the spokes to the neighboring countries, to the neighboring regions. So this is a method what allows us to involve more and more regions in our project, and that is also, from our point of view, is also the huge success for ourselves. So I am from Latvian Technological Center from Latvia. We are a developing region, so less developed region. Sometimes we are calling ourselves also a bit loser regions, because in all the statistics we are at the end in the innovation scoreboard. You will see we are the 3rd or 4th from the back. So, but doesn't mean that we are not ambitious. We are rather ambitious, and if we follow the previous presentations, that this time we are scoring in top 3 in I3, so we are catching up. Some background about the StarRise project. Yes, as I mentioned, we are 7 partners. From developed region, we have German partner, and that is from Düsseldorf, Kearney, representative in Europe in Improve Academy. Then we have 2 outermost regions. One is coming from Martinique, and one is from Canaries, and actually that helped us a lot to understand these regional problems. And at this moment, I would like to say, if we are speaking with some local Latvian companies, we can guide them. Do you want to enter Africa? Nice. What are you doing? Oh, we are sending emails. Very nice. Go to the Canaries, because they have said that they will be the hub for entering European companies in Africa. And they have a lot of events, they have a lot of ecosystem already there, not only from the logistics perspective, but also for the meetings, these key people that are in Africa, in the countries, in the legal positions, and then they can meet this in this natural European territory. Next thing, Martinique. You all want to work with Latin America, right? It's very nice. But do you know that Martinique is the first entry point in Europe Union? If you are bringing in the fruits in Europe Union, for you it's much more better to make all the processing in Martinique because it is much more cheaper logistics, and then from Martinique to Europe, there are coming products with more added value. It's a business. The same about other partners. We have a very strong partner from Greece that is also operating science parks and also technological parks, EAD. Then from North Portugal, Innova are also a very strong participant. And from Romania, we have a Northwest region represented. And the interesting is that we all are speaking about the Guadeloupe stakeholder model players. Pretty much we are uniting all of them. The bad thing is that our project is finishing on 30th of October. So that is the only bad thing. Now about our process, how we worked with the StarEyes project. When we started this project, it was a bit surprising how we will approach. And then we decided, let's do it simple way. Let's ask the companies, what do they want? And not to reinvent the methodology, we start searching what is already available. And believe it or not, there is Interreg Europe. And they have a very nice methodology, and that is named Entrepreneurial Discovery Process. And they have very nicely described how to work with it. We start with this one. We were not intending to change the whole world, to change the policy, because on the governmental level, they have 5, 10, 20-year plans. And the project cannot change 5, 10, 20-year plans. We can fit in. These are the huge cornerstones, and we are fitting in. And actually, for us, this worked. As a result, we managed to identify more than 80 different project ideas potential. That is good, 80 ideas. Fantastic, eh? Gerald, thank you also for your support and help. But how to work with these 80 more project ideas? It's a nightmare to align them around the whole regions where is interregional interest, all this one. And then we took our magical friend, artificial intelligence, and please group them. And actually, he did it in few seconds, and that was the first thing when we start thinking, wow, these are similar, these can be created new value chains, and then we start thinking, wow, yeah, that is start working. And actually, by then, we had more than 8 value chains. We had 10 some, but we have reduced a bit. We have joined them. Human intelligence also is sometimes needed. And the most interesting thing is we found out value chains that is existing, but it is hidden in other value chains. Fungi and mycelium. They are plant-based, but they are not plant-based. They are completely different value chain. They have completely different needs. And this is the future. We have European bioeconomy strategy. We have it. Living organisms, yeast, mycelium. This is where we are strong. We have capacity. We have in Denmark, we have Novo Nordisk, one of the hugest bioeconomy companies in the world. We have to, yes, they are working with yeast. They are not working with mycelium. But why not to develop the new Novo Nordisk in Latvia maybe, I don't know, in Martinique also. That come out fungi. And then there was one interesting company, oh, you are working with aliens. With whom is he? No, fungi is aliens. There is such legend that fungi spores travel to Earth through space with meteorite. So who don't want to work with aliens? So we are working with aliens. We are the first ones who are working with aliens. Then the next important thing came out about the food sector, gluten-free products. It's a huge problem, not only for the people who have this celiac disease, but also for those who are choosing this lifestyle. Nice, but there is a problem in logistics. There is a problem in preparation of these products, because as there is no this gluten, there is need for new machineries, for new equipment. Again, new value chain. Then about the smart and novel solutions for logistics hubs. Somehow I already mentioned this, but this is also why we are not using innovation wording. We use novel, not to scare the people away. If we are saying novel, they better understand. And novel, pretty much, for them, it's in innovation. About the other value chains, we used opportunity also to join the Hyperloop, where the Netherlands is the leading one. And actually, why we joined this one? Because we have very strong aircraft industry and composite material industry. So, and this is needed. There is a synergy effect. And then the last two ones, what I wanted also to point out is that we are here not just for the project benefits, not to meet the KPIs. It's nice to meet the KPIs, but at the same time, we have to understand that behind this is EU policy. And if we identify, for example, that there is hydrogen regional logistics challenges, opportunities, we found it out, then not to compete with already existing project, I3 project, we gave this value chain to them. You work with this value chain. Yes, we will count it that we found out it, but we gave it to them. The same about the sustainable and environmental innovations, also about the waste flows, waste as raw material for other products. Why to compete with them? Let's give them, work with them. We all are for one goal, not for two. The project, it is one of the ways how to reach it. But the most important is this huge strategy. And yes, thank you for your attention. And please don't forget to follow the StarRace project in LinkedIn. And please join us. Who else wants to work with aliens?
Thank you, Ens, for helping us understand that I3 is not about interregional collaboration only in Europe, but also with Africa, Latin America, and aliens, and the aliens. Great. We are now supposed to have a representative from RISE Project, Mariana Harmanova. Unfortunately, she got ill. She couldn't be here. We wish her a speedy recovery and hope to see her in future events. But luckily, in her place, we have another representative from the RISE Project. We have Anita Trekner-Mlinaric. Thank you for making it on short notice. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. And yes, we wish Mariana a fast recovery. We are very sorry that she was not able to be here with us. But I'm going to try to present the project, which also, as in case of StarRise, and we can relate because this is also a RISE project, it's unfortunately finishing. But hopefully we will be able to have an impact that we're already seeing with the results, that we are wrapping up in terms of the project. And it's been really an adventure. We didn't work with aliens, we worked with SMEs, and we really tried to mobilize, many of them to be part of this project. And I have to say, this was a real capacity building from many different perspectives. So very happy to say a few words about it. Okay, just to first try to see to move the slides. Yeah, okay. Okay, it's obviously not working from my hand, so it was waiting for Mariana. So as you can see, RISE, it's about resilient innovation ecosystems for EU value chains. So this was the full title of the project, and we were among the first ones that were, a part of the capacity building family of the projects with a budget a little over 1 million. It is also about interregional cooperation and previous collaboration of partners which are coming from 8 countries and that used to work together. And due to previous projects, they wanted to present this project and focus on the value chains that you see, which are very much focusing on mineral raw materials, forest biomass, and circular economy, as well as bioenergy and sustainable buildings. It was also a very good group of regions in terms of having less developed regions, with Bulgaria being in the lead together with Slovenia and Portugal, then having transition regions and more developed regions also being part of the group, so that we were also able to have a good exchange and experience in terms of joint learning, but also the capability to mobilize the SMEs that were at the core of our project. As said, we started in November of 2023, so we are now wrapping up. And as the colleague said, you know, it's also kind of an emotional experience when you are coming to an end of the project, but still we are very happy to see what we have achieved and, you know, what then can be also the post-project result. This one. Okay. So when it comes to the approach, we tend to say that we do have the unique approach when it comes to this project, because we really made a lot of effort in terms of, you know, mobilizing, in particular the SMEs, but of course we needed, you know, all the Q-Helix actors being part of this exercise, because otherwise it would be very difficult to have them on board. As it was also mentioned in earlier discussions, clusters played a very important role in our project as well, and they were very important integrator and motivator, I would say, for the SMEs that we gathered through this project. So also this composition of the regions and the partners was very important for us, because we were targeting certain SMEs, and we thought that, you know, when it comes to these regions and the partners that we were having, we were able to really come to the SMEs that we were aiming at. So as I was saying, it was a really good capacity building, because we had to mobilize many of them. We also had a lot of the sessions and different type of activities that we were conducting through the project. So we were also joking in saying that only what we do is meeting, coaching, but in the end, this was really the aim of the project, because we really wanted to build the capacities of SMEs and, you know, try to engage them and also try to find good perspectives for them, because especially when it comes to these value chains, we saw that there is a good potential, and that, you know, we could really help them so that they can have good results, and that we present new projects with them, as well as that we find the opportunities for the other financial instruments. So as you can see, many of the sessions that happened, we had, I think that the most important and the most challenging ones were the coaching as well, because we had over 100 of SMEs and 50 coachings that we had to get that in the time. And this was not easy, because it is always a lesson learned for the SMEs, you know, what do they miss and how to explain this to them, as well as how to also showcase the potential that they have, and, you know, what are the results that could be jointly achieved. So when it comes to the methodology as well as the promising results, as said here in this slide, we were first working on the ecosystem building. Then, you know, once we understood our ecosystem well, we really tried to conduct all these capacity building actions as mentioned. And in the end, there were a lot of focus on investment road mapping, as said here, and really working closely with SMEs in terms of identifying the best opportunities and engaging them so that they can really recognize their potential, and that we really achieve the results as expected. So in the end, I have to say that this is going well in terms of the new financial opportunities, you know, for these companies. There were just 3 proposals that have been submitted. So we were, you know, doing the balancing between the grants as well as private investments, which are now underway. There is also going to be a policy brief that is going to summarize all the lessons learned from this project, but we hope that, you know, the new projects, as well as, you know, the knowledge that companies got in terms of their opportunities is the best what we could have done for them. And of course, they will be applying for the investment round of the I3 instrument as well. So with that, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Anita, for stepping in and at such late notice, giving wonderful overview of your project. Super interesting. Please, dear audience, start thinking about questions you want to ask to each of those projects. For the next projects, I want to invite Angel Freire, representing the InShape i3 project and the SESAM i3 project. The floor is yours.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Sanders, for presentation and for the invitation to this panel. My name is Angel Freire, and I work in Acció, which is a public agency from the government of Catalonia. Catalonia is has been categorized as a strong innovator according to the Regional Innovation Scoreboard, and we already also have the Regional Innovation Valley label, thanks to our participation in 2 i3 projects and in a project funded under the EIE program of the European Union. Today I'm here to talk about our expertise, experience with the i3 instrument. In Catalonia, we have 2 main players in this regard. On the one side, we have the Department of Economy and Finances, which is responsible for the S3 and for the cohesion funds, including the ERDF. And on the other hand, we have Acció, which is this public agency which is devoted to helping SMEs to grow by promoting innovation and internationalization. So in this regard, first of all, we start with the strategy for smart specialization of Catalonia, which is called RIS3CAT. The Department of Economy and Finance is in charge of implementing different actions in this regard, monitoring European projects linked to S3, and supporting Catalan entities in participating in S3 platforms. Besides that, from Acció, we have developed a program called Catalonia Clusters, which identifies and recognizes sectoral clusters in Catalonia. We offer them support to implement or carry out missions, implement actions with other stakeholders, finding funding at the European level, and so on. In addition to that, regarding specific services to SMEs, we have a unit devoted for the support of SMEs to participate in European programs, such as Horizon Europe, LIFE, and also i3. More and more companies are coming to us about the i3 instrument, and since I saw in the maps shown by Maciek, Catalonia is doing well, so I think we are in the right path in this sense. We also offer financial help, financial support through the EEN, the European Enterprise Network, of which Acció is the Catalan node. And we also give access to advanced technologies thanks to the European Digital Innovation Hubs. It is almost important to highlight here a new methodology that we are implementing in Acció in collaboration with ESPRI. ESPRI is a regional agency for business investment, which is in the Basque Country. We are working with them to identify different cascade funding opportunities, so we obtain information from these projects, including the i3 projects, and we provide this information to our companies in our ecosystem, so they are informed about these opportunities in most of the cases before the calls are launched. And finally, last but not least, our direct participation in the i3 instrument through our projects InShape and SESAM. We will see them in the next slide. We are also members of the i3 working groups, for example, Eurada, and we, from Acció, manage the signature of the letters of endorsement to give support from our government to the i3 projects. So, first of all, we have the InShape project, the Innovation Ecosystem for Healthy, Active People in Europe. This project is funded under the Strand 1. We have 33 partners around Europe in 7 different European regions. With almost 7 million euros funding, 3 million euros are allocated for SMEs in the Cascade funding. In the case of SESAM project, which is funded under the Strand 2A, the project is based on circular economy in the agri-food sector in the Mediterranean. We have 9 partners in 3 different European regions, and about 1 million euros directly allocated to the SMEs in the Cascade funding. In both cases, the projects will end next year in August. And finally, what lessons we have learned, to summarize very quickly. The I3 instrument puts the money where it makes an impact, because 70% of the funding of the projects are allocated in the SMEs. In our case, we have already recognized 34 projects, and 60 SMEs will receive funds from this project. The I3 builds collaboration highways and not isolated pathways, as already has been said. This is about interregional collaboration, sharing experience, sharing knowledge. And finally, we see I3 not just as a program or an instrument, but as a strategic partner, because it is designed to turn innovation into real business, because the TRLs of these projects are quite high, so they are quite close to the market. And it is also a way of achieving sustainable investment ecosystem through the capacity buildings, through the CSAs of the projects. And from my side, this is all. Thank you, everyone, for your attention.
Thank you, Angel, for this insights. And then we have, last but not least, one more project representative, actually 2 projects, 1 representative. Paola, who will present 2 very catchy names, I have to say, Ambitious and Epic. It's going to be epic, I think. Please, the floor is yours.
Good morning, and thank you very much for this opportunity of presenting our experience in actually 2 I3 projects. So first of all, just a few words presenting myself and the organization Cluster Health. So I am Paola Bello. I am project manager at Cluster Health in Emilia-Romagna region. So Cluster Health is an association of more than 100 members between hospitals, research centers, patients associations, universities, and obviously companies, large companies, and SMEs. Our mission is to strengthen the regional excellence in life science by supporting research and innovation in the biomedical and the pharma industry. You see a number of value chains we are involved in, but most of all, I would like to introduce you to our regional innovation ecosystem. What you see here is a very synthetic representation of our regional innovation ecosystem. You see ARTER, the Regional Society for the Attractiveness Research of the Territory. You see the clusters, 11 clusters. Cluster represents different sectors in Emilia-Romagna. So of course, besides that one that I represent today, the health sector, there are a plurality of sectors, including MEC, such as machinery and mechatronics, innovate and tourism, of which we have 2 representatives here today. We have 10 technopoles, which are research infrastructures on the territory. And then we have the new biohubs, which are going to be regional excellence centers for life science. Now, what I'm going to talk to you today about are 2 I3 projects with 2 very interesting names. The first one is Ambitious, which is funded under the Strand 1, and the second one is Epic, funded under the Strand 2, the capacity building one. So just a few words on Ambitious. Ambitious is a project that seems to apply AI, so artificial intelligence, 5G, and Internet of Things solutions for interregional collaboration and commercialization. So the overall aim is to accelerate market uptake and the scale-up of innovation. The consortium is composed by 18 partners, including SMEs, companies, regions, and clusters, and we aim to enlarge the project by the integration of 10 new partners. So the interesting approach of Ambitious is that being one of the projects funded under the Strand 1, we aim to implement a number of pilot projects, or use case, as we call them. And these pilot projects have very practical and tangible applications in a plurality of fields. And you see here surveillance and monitoring, smart water management, which is, as you can imagine, extremely important when we talk about reducing the risk of water leakages or predicting flooding, urban flooding. There are applications in precision agriculture, so everything related to the health status, for instance, of crops and plants. And then, of course, we have application in the health sector. So you see intelligent living as a service. We have application for telemedicine platforms, for developing an app that trains healthcare staff in preventing rare but still happening conditions, such as the pediatric cardiac arrest. So what's really interesting in this project is the possibility to focus on innovation to solve very urgent and very real issues. So one of the main important aspects, actually, of the project, one of the main successes so far also, despite the fact that the project is still ongoing, is really the capacity to create innovation to support local stakeholders. And just to give you an example, I was talking some days ago with a partner who's working in the field of precision agriculture. And they were telling me that they really needed to work with farmers because they realized that when applying high-tech camera on branches and trunks of the trees, the birds would come and destroy them. So they really needed to co-design solution to make this innovation practical and actually useful. So the second project, it's EPIC. So we are talking about a complete different sector. We are talking about packaging, as you know, because of the green transition, as well as the regulation on packaging and packaging waste. The entire value chain of packaging needs to somehow reinvent itself and to apply innovation. So the overall aim of this project is to address the current and the future challenges of packaging, focusing in particular on three main sectors. Healthcare sectors, everything related to pharma packaging, for instance, food, and cosmetics. We are 10 partners representing 8 regions. So once again, what's the kind of unique approach in this project is really the possibility and the capacity to include all the actors in the value chain. So from the machinery and material providers to the manufacturers and obviously to the end users. And also the fact that this value chain, the packaging value chain, interests so many actors, then this is a push for us in the project to involve the quadruple ethics, so a plurality of actors to really collaborate together and to find solutions. Once again, among the success achieved so far, the project is still ongoing, is the capacity to engage stakeholders and to present also as MDR, so more developed regions to less developed regional innovation ecosystems that can apply solutions, that can push innovations in this particular sector. We have a number of masterclasses, so a number of trainings, opportunity for stakeholders and for representatives of the value chain, and of course we strengthen the collaboration. I'm reaching to the conclusion. Just to have an overview of both projects, as you heard, they are very different projects with very different goals. However, I would say there are some elements that somehow really help us understand how they fit so well within the I3 framework. First of all, we can see a strong collaboration among partners and among regions, which is, I think, the biggest success. We can see the different actors of the quadruple helix involved. And both projects are very much practical, tangible. They're very much impact-oriented projects. I'd like to conclude just with a quote. It's a quotation from one of the partners of Ambitious. We are running a number of interviews with the partners. And we ask them, why do you think this project is so important? Where is the added value of this project? And this is what they said. They said, the strength of the project lies in connecting diverse cultures, technologies, and sectors across Europe and to solve real challenges. This project gathers different working styles, cultural context, and regional priorities, and in doing so, we are creating an environment of true interoperability, and this is why we need Europe. And with this, I conclude. Thank you.
strong quote that will linger around, I think. I'll have many questions. I hope, dear audience, you also have questions. I'll start maybe with the order. For everyone, I have one question, and then I'll ask the audience, please come up with questions yourself as well. Christina, you've mentioned that you applied as a European Digital Innovation Hub and tried to find this combination of providing services as a European Digital Innovation Hub, which is very regional focused, with the value chain creation in i3. And you've managed to succeed, but I've not seen yet many eddies participating. Would you recommend other eddies, please make also use of it because you found success how to do it?
Definitely, I would recommend to the other EDIHs to use this facility and the instrument and the framework, because I think it's a logical complementation of the standard sources of funding for the EDIHs. Maybe the differentiation that we took advantage of is that we, as an organization, have a legal form. So we are not only a consortium, but we are a private, not-for-profit organization, and we fit, therefore, very well within the eligibility criteria. But apart from the legal stuff, I strongly believe that supporting the innovation investments of the companies that an EDIH is working with is essential, because what we are seeing in EDIHs, we are seeing a lot of test before invest solutions. Maybe we are just opening the eyes and the doors towards deep tech technologies, but how to really create this project from TRL4 to market launch, maybe it's not so clear for some of the EDIH customers. So it's a clear complementation. We are trying not to overlap. This was also one of the discussions internally in the consortium, try to create something beyond the framework of existing models and use the i3 very, very well.
Thank you, Christina. Clear. Inns, you've been talking about your projects creating new value chains. Beautiful sentence. But what is it and how do you do it for people that want to start applying to a new i3 project? What is building a new interregional value chain and how do you do it?
I don't know how we do it. We just do it. But somehow, it's a very good question. And actually, this was a question what we asked to ourselves at the project beginning. And capacity to be projects is logical about the capacity. So to build the capacity for someone, first of all, you have to build your own capacity. You have to understand the system, how it is working. And actually, we had also made a lot of mistakes on the very beginnings. But now at the end, yes, we have these value chains. How do we create them? Of course, first of all was this identification of these potential challenges and opportunities on the company level. This was the core. And when you have it, then you can start working with it. The next important question from our side was also to use the correct wording for the companies. If you will come to them and say, let's create new value chain, okay, good, it's very interesting, maybe come to us after 1 year, maybe 2 years. If you come and ask to them, what is your challenges? What you want to do? Oh yeah, then we can start thinking about. And this is actually where we have created, for example, also a new value chain of port support utilities for windmills, offshore windmills. And actually, there is nothing special in this one. There is already such a lot of support facilities. But in our region, in Nordics, in Baltics, we have a very nice thing. It's called ice. So this is experience that is not lucky. It's this experience lacking at that level. And this is a new value chain for these ports to create this operational business model, all this support for these ports with the ice, with these icy areas. But there is one more interesting thing. In the Baltics, the ice is not on every day. Today you have ice, tomorrow you don't have ice. And again, this is challenges. And this is how we were creating these value chains. So we were adapting what they were requesting, then grouping, and then creating this one regional challenge or interregional challenge, and then approaching it. This was our background for this.
Great, thank you. So, if I understand correct, don't go with building value change, but identify the challenges and ask what are your challenges.
Exactly, exactly.
Solve challenges.
Yeah, that was our logic behind this one. And actually, the next thing is, if I can add about the value chains. Value chains. But how do we evaluate the readiness of the value chain? We have TRLs, we have investment readiness levels, we have market readiness levels. Do we have value chain readiness levels? Now, Starrace have, because we had to develop them, because at some extent we did not understand on what the levels this value chain is, how developed it is.
Great.
This, yeah.
Great, so we identified a good practice we can share with other projects. Thank you. Angel, you talked about the impact of SMEs and how great i3 Instruments allocates 70% of their budgets to benefit SMEs. Can you explain from your projects, can you give an example of how has that helped an actual SME in your project?
Yeah, well, money is important. The funding is important for SMEs to implement their activities. But in this case, in the projects, many of the companies, the SMEs participating in our projects, this is the first time they get in touch with European programs. And this helps them to open their mind to other possibilities in implementing their activities. For example, one of the SMEs in the SESAM project is the first time participating, and thanks to the project, they are developing their solution, and it's going to be in the market thanks to the project. They are creating new value chains that provides them the technical needs they found in the projects to implement their prototypes and to make it real in the market. So it's not just the funding, but also these new value chains, these new contacts with other companies, with other providers, technological providers they otherwise would have not met in the region. But this is all about interregional collaboration, sharing knowledge and all this. And also from our side, from our point of view, it is important because we are developing this new mechanism, this identification of cascade funding opportunities around Europe that will help us as public agency to provide a more detailed support to SMEs to find many other opportunities to participate in European projects. Not only in our projects as partners, but also in other European projects in the region or in other regions from Europe, thanks to this collaboration we are doing with Esprit, the Basque Country entity.
Great, thank you. Again, the value change, it's an added value, concrete. Anita, maybe a question for you. What is your biggest success in the project you've been involved in so far? What is something you're really proud of, what you've achieved so far?
Yeah, good question. And then I'm back to aliens because I think that SMEs can be considered at once sometimes. I think that discovering to SMEs what is actually their potential. Because I think in most of them that we also approached were kind of shy in terms of also recognizing the value and what they could bring to the market. So, you know, through this coaching that we have done, it was also a discovery story for them as well, because they saw that, you know, how their projects could be channeled to be more market and investment ready. Also, as usually it happens, we had companies from the same country that didn't know each other and that they're also working more or less in the same field. So bringing them together also to speak and to see how they could potentially develop together the innovation, as well as bringing them closer to the financial instruments and the opportunities, I think was the biggest value. because many of them were interacted with us, and then just showing some part of the world to them as well. In that regard, I think was a great value of this project. And as I said, there were several projects that have been submitted with them being part of the consortia. So they're also starting their interregional collaboration pathway as well. So I think it was really the door opener, and also showed very well how, less developed regions and also Q-Helix actors and the managing authorities, including the national, including other authorities, should work more and put more incentives in place, as well as, for them to recognize and to know what are the opportunities, for them here being grants, public or other investments. So, with that, we really hope that we were able to bring capacities of the next generation of SMEs that will, really have their say in the market very soon.
Thank you. So SMEs started as a bit like aliens, but by now you know them and you help them and you work with them. Great success. Thank you. Paola, you've been also presenting for your region, Emilia-Romagna, the different stakeholders you're engaged with. So talking about this high level of quadruple helix collaboration, how have you done that in your region?
Absolutely. So obviously when we talk about this kind of project involving, as you were saying, high levels representative of regions, of large companies, is somehow easier because they know what we are talking about, they can understand the policy behind. But then of course, and this is the importance of I3 projects, the important thing is to translate these high-level policies to practical daily life of SMEs and companies and citizens in the end. And so I would say the way we are implementing these kind of actions is to keep a constant dialogue and to promote, again, either masterclasses or workshops or interviews with the partners, so to really understand what is needed and are we going to the right direction. Just again, to give you another example for the Ambitious project, we talked with a partner who's looking after a number of living environments for senior citizens. So obviously the project is promoting a number of innovations also for smart houses and these kind of solutions. But the problem is that these solutions can be very expensive, and so there's a gap on what is needed and where the innovation is going. So putting together people who are working with senior citizens and people who are developing smart house solutions really can help somehow finding the path to create solutions that can be applied right now. That doesn't mean that in the future bigger innovation cannot be implemented, bigger, more high-tech, and actually more efficient can be implemented. But right now, what is needed is that. And so it's nice to see this kind of dialogue, and it's nice to see this kind of innovation that, of course, from one side, it's important that it is, as we normally say, disrupting or trailblazing, or these words that we use in European projects. But sometimes it really needs to be very practical and on time for the current issues.
Great, thank you. So translating the high-level policy language, trailblazing, innovative breakthrough to the practical, actual user with their needs. Great. Dear audience, I have tons of questions still to ask, but maybe you have questions. Please feel free to raise your hand. We have people with the microphone coming to you. Introduce yourself and ask the question. Let's start, Marco, you were first. You can go ahead.
I have a very simple question for Inz and very complicated question to Paula. Inz, I heard you say at the end, and I don't know if that was intentional to direct us to think about global value chains, but you said that we need to understand value Chinese. Was it a culture? Was that a cultural?
Not Chinese value chains. Not Chinese.
Well,
but actually, we have to understand Chinese also. It's not so bad to understand them.
The question was serious since we are into ERDF here with I3, and of course we think about cohesion. And we compare value chains in terms of competitiveness within, not in a broader global context. So that's an important topic. So you did not mean value Chinese. to compare competitiveness of our work with on global level. So that was half a joke, half of.
No, I understand. I will also answer with a half a joke, or maybe not a joke. So, but pretty much, do we want to be or not? But we are also part of the global value chains anyway. So, and if we want, as Europe, to be, let's say, prosperous and strong on several value chains, we still have to develop our value chain capacity internally. So
the serious question, the more complex question to Paula. You were one of the few that, the only one who mentioned cultural context so far until now, creativity, culture. What did you mean by that? You mentioned it twice. Did you mean the beauty of intercultural cooperation as such, or did you think about deep craft, innovation embedded in cultural contexts? If I put it in a context, I'm coming from cultural capital of Europe, from Slovenia. I just had my own event on Saturday, interdisciplinary music science exploration. And we did explore the scientific beauty of old instruments in a scientific way. So these are the differences. So could you answer?
Yeah, sure. So the actual reference to the working culture came from the partner that I mentioned, the one from which I took the quotation. I think what is meant by working culture is different ways of working and different ways to collaborate with different actors. Just for instance, if you think about this kind of projects, see quite often the collaboration of SMEs with universities. So the way universities work in different regions and in different countries can vary a lot. In some countries, universities are very much focused on theory, while other universities are very much more focused on training and on working applications. So sometimes there is a missing link between the work of universities, which can be, of course, an enormous push for SMEs, but again, what SMEs or company are doing. So working culture could mean to have, again, different actors that are used to use certain kind of vocabulary, if I can say so, in a way that is comprehensible for any of them. So we were actually discussing yesterday with our colleagues the fact that sometimes in many universities, the culture of publishing, of perishing is very common, publish or perish. However, it's not necessarily like this. So you can publish, but you can also connect with a company and elaborate something together. Now there is a big push in creating startups and new companies. So I guess talking about working culture really means finding a common language for having stakeholders working together.
Thank you. I saw more hands being raised. Please, let's go to the back and then we can go here.
Good afternoon, morning. Bo Broem from New Energy Coalition in the Netherlands. So I'm here today on behalf of the High to Market project. We are the program coordinator for that. And I was wondering actually in the terms of sharing knowledge and also seeing your experience, how do you deal with the fact for the funding of the 70% funding and then the 30% which is turned out later? So we have a consortium of 42 members across 10 regions in Europe, and what we see actually is that a lot of SMEs, they tend to struggle sometimes a little bit with this 30% gap. And in order to, I think, having this innovation coming through the market more efficiently, I think it's also important to have this gap covered better for the SMEs. How is your experience in this project?
Who wants?
I can start, as we have CAP 2B project, so we have 100% funding. But I'm giving some time for colleagues to think about it one. But actually, I totally agree with what you just shared, because within our created value chains, we are also now looking towards this I3 project applications for Strand 1 and Strand 2A. And this is one of the main bottlenecks, what we are seeing in working with the companies. When we start presenting in our value chains, there is this potential for this regional investment instrument. Are you interested? Yes, we are interested. We present them whole structure. Yes, we are interested to be part, we want to do it. And then the final thing is we are presenting these fundings. And then when we are saying 70% commission, 30 yours, yeah, fine. And when you show that from 100,000 euros, 30,000 euros you have to invest by yourself, this is a critical point. This is a critical point. And usually, to be very honest, for us, in 70–80%, the company is then, no, sorry, we are interested, but we are not interested. And then we are still thinking about these possibilities to use this FSTP grant possibilities. But for these FSTP grants, still these FSTP grants should contribute to the project core values, to the project core partners. This is what we also really see as a challenge. And actually, now I am forwarding microphone to the colleagues.
Maybe I can add some more because also I was involved with SMEs, who were approaching the other strands as well. I think it's very important to be clear about the conditions at first, and also the maturity level of the companies matters a lot. So you will have those that will really see this instrument as, and if they are in the process of upscaling their innovation, as actually a great incentive, especially having in mind that there will be part of the international consortia, which also can be a door opener to other markets. So if this is explained well to them, then they will also understand how great opportunity this is. For those that are not there yet, it's also good to make them aware, and then through these capacity building actions, actually to bring them closer. And this is then the way how to engage them more. But as we were discussing here, the open dialogue is really something that matters, so that they are clear about the conditions and also what the outcome is going to be, so there is no misleading. And once this is done in this way, then usually they tend to join.
Thank you. I saw a question, hand raised. Yes, you're sir, and then you can be next.
Basil Reev from Taltech University in Estonia, part of the discussion group in the Policy Lab, and we've heard amazing success stories. But my question is, what about the challenges? What have you faced? How did you manage to get over them? And also maybe a little bit another question, it's about the longer term impact. So how do you engage probably like private equities, as we have seen from the previous survey, about the intentions for future investments? How do you engage them early on during the project, or I don't know, what other strategies or mechanisms that you include in the projects? Thank you.
Difficult question. Who wants?
I will answer the easy one, how to engage the private actors and the private equity funding. We started to think from the beginning at this topic, also based on the questions and challenges raised by the previous question. Not all the SMEs can have capacity from the beginning to leverage public funding, or they don't want to. They might be not fit for this type of investment. So what we did in our Sustain X project is to engage very early, like in the 4 months of the project. We did we opened a call for advisory board members and for all the type of stakeholders that should be part of our capacity building activities, and we specifically looked also towards this type of representatives of the private funding, private capital, venture capitals sources that should be very close to us from the beginning of the project. Of course, the cadence of meeting with them is, I don't know, one per semester, when we are discussing and sharing some ideas and some potentially interesting investments for them, but it was something that we were thinking from the beginning.
And the challenges faced and overcome. Yes, Angel.
I can answer, I think this one, it's working, yeah. One thing is what you write in your proposal, where you have in mind that you will be doing, and then you have to face reality, and that's when problems arise, challenges arise. But I think the key here is communication. Communication among the partners, communication with the Commission, because they are there to help. And I think this is the way. In our project, we have almost every 2 weeks, we have meetings to analyze how the project is being implemented, how things are developing. And when we have had some challenges faced, we have made some extra meetings to find solutions. We have communicated with the Commission, and I think the thing here is, unless it is a critical problem, you will be able to solve it. Don't worry, because the teamwork actually works, and the Commission is also there to help you. So it's scary, but trust yourself, because the teamwork will work in these cases. So don't worry about that.
Thank you. I also want to highlight that as I3 Support Facility, we organized a virtual event about the topic of private investors. So the recording is still available, and we had a private investor from Estonia present. So maybe you could get in touch if you're interested as well. Last question. I'm sorry then, Mark, for the lunch. Please ask questions in the lunch as well, but I don't want to take time. So final question.
Thank you very much. Hello, I'm Theodore Grassos from ACME, which is actually a vet provider from Greece. We have about 25,000 students. And I'm also representing EVBB, the Vet Providers Associations. We are part of one of the projects and recently also started to get engaged into the I3 facility. So my question would be, what is the position of a vet school? EQF level 5, so not at a very low level. Are they engaged? Do they have a position? Do you see a position for the vocational training in these projects? Thank you very much.
Great. Any of you experiences vocational education institutions?
We can just say that you are already part of one of the other projects that we are just starting. And yes, the role of how we integrated this type of entity is to support capacity building. To support capacity building, trainings with the SMEs and also with the consortium partners on specific topics. But maybe there are other ideas here.
At least one answer, but maybe something to be investigated. That there's more than capacity building, and I think training, skills could be relevant for the future as well. So, yep, Inns, go ahead.
We are working with quadruple stakeholders, we all. And for each of these groups, there is separate needs for these trainings. And this is where we have to distinguish what is fits for SMEs, does not fit for politicians, because they completely are different interests. And this is what we have to understand when we are tailoring this message, what we are delivering to them. And this is where maybe that was working also for us, that we had the master classes for SMEs, just for SMEs. And then if there was the interest from the research and developers, yes, you all are invited, it is open, please join it. But the idea is to build this capacity for these SMEs. SMEs, the ones who are delivering the value, they are bringing the money in the country, they are paying the taxes. So we have to create their capacity primarily. And this is what we did within these master classes.
Great insight. I want to close this session. Give please a warm applause for our panel members. You've done a great job.
Can I say one more thing? Please, dear Commission, dear DG Regio, please don't cut capacity 2B projects, please. Because there is one thing, please remember this. For us, this is a sandbox, a playground. We can play with really new challenges, with new value chains. And there is no other programs where we can do it. This is the core to start the new value chains, for the new innovations. Sorry for this.
Thank you, Inns. Thank you very much.